simultaneously. So let's let this begin. Okay. We've got, and oh, cool. Yay, it's working. Good morning, everyone. I am as usual, trying something different and new. Oh, and I have to hit the record button. Okay. And woohoo! We did it. So good morning. My name is Dr. Z, also known as Dr. Z Gross of Greater Self LLC and Dr. Z Gross Family and Counseling Incorporated. This morning, I wanted to come back from being on vacation and bring all the rested energy. And I don't know about you all, but have you ever gone on vacation before? And you find yourself in a space where you're like, yeah, I'm going to rest and take all these breaks. And then you literally find everything in the whole entire world to start doing. And just happened to notice that a break is not what took place at all. Well, that may or may not have happened, but in the midst of that, something came to me that I realized I really wanted to be able to share about and just give people an opportunity to explore and just ponder on it. So I am from the Midwest. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. So all the stuff that's been happening like in the news, which if you know me, I don't necessarily jump on the news very frequently. Hey, I see you out there in IG land. But growing up there kind of, for lack of better words, trained me to do some things differently. So for instance, if you live in California or you're on the West Coast, there's a chance you may not have a deep freezer. You might not be used to even being in a home that has maybe a basement in it. But over there, it's regular. People go and stock up and do things like buy enough food and put stuff in your regular freezer as well as your deep freezer, so that in the wintertime, when the weather gets different, especially everyone experiencing those flight delays and canceled flights over the holidays, FYI, that's why I live in California and not back there anymore, because that cold doesn't always allow you to 100% be able to dictate when you aren't getting somewhere else. But something we would always do, and I think across the board, and you guys can let me know in the chat, if you're from like a place where it gets cold or you have weather that could potentially cause you to be snowed in or unable to exit your home, you do things like stack up and prepare for the weather, for just in case. You start creating, for lack of a better word, stockpiles of things that you're going to need. So in the event something happens to you, say maybe you get sick, yes, like in New York, you get sick, or the roads get shut down, or maybe trucks haven't come out to salt the roads yet. You have what you need so that you can take care of yourself and your household and your family. And the thing is, in certain areas, everybody does that and it's regular and routine. When I came up with the name of the topic, I was trying to think, how do I incorporate this ideal and be able to share it in a way that allows folks to understand the necessity and importance of this particular season, hence being wintertime, and how you can start to prepare your life for your summers, for maybe what you want to be harvesting and growing in the springtime, spring, summer, any of those seasons where things do start to actually manifest. Looking at that, even though I was speaking of the weather specifically, if you look at the winters of your lives, and it may not always coincide with the physical winter time, there are things that will be supportive to you that you may want to start stacking and growing and doing, so that when it's time for you to show up and show out, you already have your arsenal of tools that you can use to do that. And those things look like most folks at some point probably went to school if you wanted to do a specific job or certification. So in order for me to be a therapist, I had to actually go to school, finish a bachelor's, finish a master's, and do 3,000 hours, be supervised by other folks, get their opinions, take in supervision, see lots of different clients, and eventually get licensed so that I could say, hey, I can help you with your concerns or problems in the world and give you a safe space to do that. Well, that required a winter period called school, called internship, and building all these various different skills and tools and techniques, and then learning about different trainings that will be supportive towards being able to do so. Everyone has a winter period in life, and some of them look different for different things that you're attempting to cultivate. Right now, folks can definitely probably attest to, and good morning, you guys over there on Facebook also. I'm really proud of how the streaming is working for this morning. So I hope you all definitely tap in, ask questions, and get insight and info. But right now, New Year's was last week or something like that. And most people tend to move into a space of, all right, I'm totally going to start this year off right. Good morning. And I'm going to do something different. I am going to work out. I'm going to eat good food. I'm going to go to sleep. And FYI, these are things in our GTV group that all of my Gs have gone through before, and they've had the opportunity. Some alumni are on the calls in different locations, and they remember the body component where we looked at how are we going to sculpt and do different things with your body. But this is one of those effortless transition periods where people do want to start something new, and it's a great time to do so. It's cold out. And unless you really enjoy like winter sports, there isn't a lot of other things you could be doing anyways, which naturally would create the space for how can I cultivate what I want for the spring or summer by starting in the winter to grow it. I.e., if you want to look amazing this summer, you probably should start right now if there's something that you need to do differently, because you've got a couple of months to really get a routine going and get that support from other people. And just the transition of new year, it allows you, or speaking my language, it gives you the opportunity to really look at, all right, what do I want to do different? Who can I tap into, or are there resources already available that will be supportive to any of the things that maybe as you evaluate at the end of 2022, you were like, for 23, either something's got to give, or I'm willing to do something different. And why not start it now? Even if you didn't start it on the first, this is your winter period to really build towards how you want to blossom and grow and show up and show out for your spring, for the summer. And maybe even you might decide I'm going year round. So in different periods of the year, you may have different winter planting seeds, making sure you get the info, bulking season, however you want to look at it, where you're taking in information. And then I see you over on Facebook. Good morning to you guys too. And you are intentionally building on the things that you either don't know yet, are aware that you may need some support with, and ideally building a community of folks around you that are also on the same page and looking to do the same things. Hey, I see another one of my Gs over here on Instagram. But you're starting to give yourself that grace to bulk, to get info, to take it all in, allow it to be what it is, and then you start to cipher through what components you need and what's going to be supportive to you so you can go out and do it your way, in a way that allows you to show up in a greater version of yourself, of course, understanding each season has its place and its purpose. Winter is a great time, like I said, to bulk, to build, to take in more info and insulate yourself as you're kind of battling whatever may feel like the cold and the weather, and translate that over to what's happening in your personal life, what's happening in your business, what's happening in your career, and the relationships that you may be cultivating. Is this a period in time in your relationships, and not just romantic, but friendships, working relationships, relationships with the people in your immediate household, where, this could be a great time to start looking at how do we want to do stuff different. Maybe some folks are realizing this is a good time to go to therapy. So that this will not continue how things are going, because something needs to be shed so that something else can grow new. And I'm wondering if anything I've said so far, if it's kind of resonating, it's hitting, or it's like, she is just rambling and talking and got way too much energy going this morning, which I'm okay with all of the above. But have you ever noticed some periods in time where you're like, oh, okay, that really was a winter period? And if you notice it, did you give yourself permission to take full advantage of your winter and really take in the stuff you needed? So once those seeds were planted, what grew was exactly what you were speaking of. And it showed up, maybe not the way you thought, but exactly how you needed it for that next season to be able to, like I said, be just a greater version of you. And anyone can feel free to jump in there, say something, put something in the chat. I'm here. I'm going to definitely take a quick little sip of my tea this morning. And I am wondering, do you guys ever jump up and get some tea in the morning, some coffee? Like, if we took a poll, would coffee be the winner, or would tea, or nothing? Because I don't know, something about something warm for me that seems to work in the morning. Yes on the tea. All right, I appreciate that. Just FYI, I'm more than happy to answer questions and like have a back-to-back communication with folks. So do feel free to share it and ask, does this hit? Does this resonate? Does looking at your winter period of life make sense? Does understanding the need, the necessity, and your real true capabilities to start building whatever you want, whenever you want to, and noticing your winter periods and summers of life so that you really just don't miss opportunities. You embrace them for what they are, and it gives you that space to just be like, okay, cool. It's not forever. It's just for a season. Most seasons last about 90 days or so, just like a quarter. So if you're planning life out anyways, every 90 days, something's going to look different. And yes, winter periods are 100% necessary. People are like, I do live in California because I like the sun. And if you are fully aware it's raining out here, I'm not happy about this, but I understand the necessity of it. I appreciate what it will offer, and it allows things to be pretty and green, which means I kind of got to suck it up and get over it. I'm sure there's some things in our lives where we're like, all right, this doesn't feel the greatest, but it's not forever. It's just for this moment. So how can I make the best of it and actually start finding the silver linings in these periods in time? So it doesn't have to be so painful. It doesn't have to be a problem. It's just, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't get this particular opportunity. I didn't work with that person. I didn't join a job. I see on here, personal development is the single most important ingredient that I've had in my life on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, headed to a doctor's appointment right now. See, like, I am absolutely going to be setting some appointments for this year. And the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you guys haven't heard of that book, by all means, do feel free to jump on the Google and sometimes YouTube. You can find these things for free and listen to them. I'm a big fan of audiobooks because I want to physically do some other stuff and take the info in. But if you like to physically read books, this is probably some good weather and time to gift yourself that. Take time to learn some information that you didn't know before, or review something you've already read, because who you are today is not the same person that read that book a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even. There might be more information that you've read before, but in this moment, you're realizing, oh, I can pull from that resource now. This is a good time or good period to actually review things that you've already reviewed to see if there's something that speaks to you, and giving yourself that grace and permission to look at, well, what do I maybe need in this moment that I might have missed, so that you can go back and use your resources. People have bookshelves full of stuff and information and never go back to them. It's like, oh, I read it once and you let it go. But that same book will have the same words in it, but you being a different person may be able to see, hear, feel, read, and need something else that was already there. Why not give yourself permission or grace to go back and pull from old things? I know folks that have been in my previous cohorts, like when they come back periodically, it's like, oh my gosh, I remember, I knew, let me go ahead and pull this tool in now. So if you all haven't seen on social media, definitely have the waitlist open for the next GTV cohort. And I want to say next month, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember right now because I don't have it in front of me. And that's okay. I'm giving myself grace for that because I put it somewhere else and made sure that it gets scheduled so that you are fully aware of it. But our next cohort will be starting, and we're still finishing up one currently. And last week we were looking at the body component and going to the yoga expo and meeting with some cool folks there, and going this weekend, I think, to the Fit Expo and being able to see one of my previous Gs or folks that have gone through GTV. They'll actually be fighting. And it feels good to be able to go and support people that I've had the opportunity to work with, that in their winter periods, I was able to be a part of and support them in the process. From IG, absolutely have reread many books that on personal development over time, because there's always a new unit of time that will take any information as if it were new. Why not? Just putting it out there, especially if any of my Gs are on here, this next cohort and or even the one that's currently there, reach out, tap in, come join back in with me. I absolutely take advantage of coaches I have worked with historically. And when they have shared something with me, I will go back and reread it. Or if they have new cohorts or they have the capacity to be able to join in, I will definitely go back as my schedule permits. And I look at what will be most supportive to me in this moment. I go back and I review, or I listen, or I go through the same programs. I was like, didn't you do that before? Yes, I did. And today I may need something new. So I'm listening to it again. I'm reviewing it again because there's something that will be supportive that I might have missed. In this season, for who I am, I can access more information. And I know I'm starting to wrap it up pretty soon, but if you all ever noticed, I bet you at some point, an adult, a parent, somebody you looked up to has probably said something to you when you were younger. You're like, whatever, old person, you don't know what you're talking about. And you legit was like, whatever, they just don't know. They don't know me. They don't know my life. They don't know what I'm going through. And you find yourself years later, possibly, literally saying the exact same thing they said. And you may have had the privilege of being able to say it to that person for them to be like, I wonder who told you that. And you're like, I have no idea. And they're like, whatever, you got it now. That's great. That's cool. Imagine you have that same capacity within you already anyways, without just going back to the things that other people have said, but using your resources that you've already gotten access to, as well as looking at other folks that maybe there's something they're saying, something they're doing that moves you, something about them that intrigues you. And you're like, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm gonna linger around. I'm gonna keep checking them out and just see if something pops or there's an opportunity to connect on a deeper level. If it comes up, why not take it? I know in the Facebook group, someone was saying changing their diet over the last 2 years never did too much activity. Being able to change what you're eating, and all the folks that are out there in some form or fashion of fitness, and or you've taken ownership of your own physical body, you may have noticed or realized you can go work out super hard, but if you don't eat the right foods, there's a certain component where you can't outwork a good diet. With that being said, your resources for your business, personal life, any other types of relationships you want to look at, you can physically be moving and doing the stuff, but if you're not putting the things in you that are actually going to be supportive, you're not going to get past the current level or state where you're at without choosing to do something a little different, to embrace something new that works for you, and being comfortable with what I may work for 50 million other people, but it didn't work for me. And I do always tend to go back to my allergies. Some folks can embrace a pescatarian lifestyle, and that means they can eat shrimp, lobster, all those things. Well, I'm definitely allergic to it. So while that's great for other folks and whatever their beliefs are on food, I literally can't go try that because I won't get to keep living. So needless to say, if I chose to do that, I'd have to do something a little different, taking that information in, hence the bulking of info and ways to do life, and then tease out, but what's going to work specifically for me. and allowing that to be okay, because this is my process and I am the only person that has to live with me all the time in my life. My kids may feel like they do, but I was somebody's kid at once, and I am not talking to my parents every single day and in their face like mom, dad, mom, dad. So why not take in info? If it works for you, keep it. Build up your plethora of information. It might not even be for you. Some of the stuff in our winter periods may actually be for someone else, but you needed to hear it so that when it was time for you to bloom and show up and show out, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that information, and then share it. Like folks on this call, there are people that have been so awesome and like helped and supported me in different ways. And I didn't even realize I needed it. But if I hadn't taken those steps to just say hello, to reach out, to follow through, I wouldn't have known that info. And I may not have been able to have the chance to meet, I don't know, anybody on this call for that matter. So in your winter period of life, feel free, take in the info, hold it, don't hoard it, hold on to it, categorize it mentally, physically, and use the things that work for you, and be okay with letting other things go to the wayside, understanding this came to you specifically for a reason. The faster you can determine what that reason is for and how to use it for your benefit, the quicker the lessons, or however you want to look at it, can be learned. So you don't have to keep repeating them over, but you also get to experience why that burning sensation of there's got to be something more was given to you. There has to be something else I can be doing. And it then makes sense. You're then able to show up and have it be a benefit in your life, because chances are you probably have to go do something that impacts other people's lives. Questions, thoughts, concerns, ideals, observations, aha moments, any and all are welcomed. And I really do enjoy mugs. This one really, it always makes me happy. Without saying all the cuss words, it just reminds you like, be pleased. I hope you all embrace this. I'm so effing fabulous. I pee glitter, I poop cupcakes, and I fart rainbows. So if that's who you are, you're ready to embrace or embody that, you don't have to tell everybody, but somebody probably needs to know that today. And you just might want to slide that little credential across the table to remind them of who you are, as you like, that's right. I did that. I created those great things out of my winter periods in life. Cool. You are very welcome. I hope you totally embrace your winter period, and then give yourself permission to go ahead and shine when it's time to shine, whatever season it is. I know that can sometimes be scary. Trust me. Some days I am laying in the bed like, why did you say you were going to do this again? Well, that's right, because if you don't, then somebody else may not have the opportunity to do whatever they're supposed to do because I was too scared to do what I needed to do. A lot of responsibility for no reason. So just do it. The worst that can happen is nothing. The hours were going to pass by anyways. Why not entertain yourself if you possibly can, and somebody else in the meantime? Well, if there's no more questions, thoughts, or concerns, I hope you all totally embrace and enjoy the rest of this Tuesday and whatever weather you're experiencing, and allow it to be great for you in whatever capacity that it is. And do be on the lookout for that wait list. Feel free to join, because I think around about the last week or so of this month, we may be giving more info and more insight on what GTV looks like, some of the different wins that folks have experienced, as well as giving you the opportunity to become a G with some of the alumni, and see how you want to show up and show out in your greater version of yourself. Do sign up for the wait list. Do come back on Thursday. I can't remember the topic, but I think it's something cool. You guys will totally see on Thursday. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7:30 a.m. You are available and allowed to come and be a part of the live audience. So I look forward to seeing you all later, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye, y'all. Mhm.